Welcome to Geeks Corner. I'm Mr. Daps.
I'm Katie.
And we're so excited that you're here tonight for the first night of Geekmas.
On the first night of Geekmas, my geek love gave to me
A tree? I don't know.
Some stockings and a geek tree.
Mm-hmm.
Ta-da!
The Geekmas tree is up. It is lit. We are on a roll this year. And we are going to probably move things around a little bit more so you can see the tree better. But that was one of those things we didn't realize until later.
One Indiana boop for the first day of Geekmas.
That's a good one.
He got a little nose. Is very boopable. That's not little nose.
There you go. It's getting bigger.
Got big old nose.
That is true. All right. What should people do, Katie?
You should go into the chat and you should say how cute Indiana is, or your favorite thing to do at Geekmas,
or a prediction of what this week's IndieCam will be.
Or you could do that. Honestly, I don't even know that I ever know what IndieCam is going to be because Indiana is so unpredictable.
That is very true.
Yellow monster sometimes.
All right. Well, now it is time for the returning segment, since I have one again, is What's on Mr. Dapp's Desk.
What's on Mr. Dapp's desk?
This week is, I'm proud of this one.
Yeah, I know you are.
This one is Columbo.
But Columbo does what?
Columbo, the Grassy Knoll. So 30 years after the assassination of President Kennedy, Columbo is going to solve what really happened. And I've only read a couple pages of this, and I'm already hooked. Listen to this by Jack Anderson. He says, "Our greatest detective tackles our greatest unsolved crime, the JFK assassination. A dazzling thriller you won't put down." Riveted, okay. Right?
I'd like to say this, huh? A few things.
Mm-hmm.
One, to take me off the FBI watch list, but two, I am a huge conspiracy theorist. Love conspiracy theories. I think more of them are true than not. Like, whatever. I don't think that that's a mystery. Let
me just read you the tag.
Okay.
When controversial talk show host Paul Drury is murdered, Lieutenant Columbo, America's favorite TV detective, must unravel the mystery that has held the world's attention for 30 years. For someone has sabotaged the broadcast of Drury's final show, which promised to expose JFK's real assassin. There you go.
I also
didn't know.
I might be touchy about this because JFK is my favorite president.
60 years ago, just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, it was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Which that's a fun one. Drop your favorite president in the chat because that's a totally normal thing for everyone to have as a favorite United States president.
Okay, so what were you gonna say about it?
I already said mine's Kennedy.
Oh, I thought you were gonna add something to it.
No, mine's Kennedy.
The very first endorsement on the back of the book, though, is from Margaret Truman, who says, "Wow. A wonderful tale full of spectacular twists and stunning surprises."
Well,
there you go, right? Yeah. So there's What's on Mr. Dapp's desk. I'm sure it'll be fantastic. We will see. Speaking of phantasmic, we will get to that. Fantastic. This last weekend, we went and saw the Candlelight Processional at the Disneyland Resort, which was hosted this year by none other than Brie Larson of Captain Marvel fame. What did you think of Candlelight, and what did you think of Brie Larson as the narrator, Katie?
Okay, so I'm going to say something.
Okay.
I'm going to say something.
Merry Geekmas.
So what I have to say is, I was half expecting to be interrupted another time. Sometimes they pick people because they're good celebrities, and they are not great narrators. This happens sometimes. It's inevitable. Brie Larson was a fantastic narrator.
I thought she was very good.
She was very engaging. She read it very well, and she was very emotionally involved, which I always think is a lot more interesting than just reading words or trying to tell a good story.
I agree.
I thought Brie Larson was wonderful. When she cried, I cried, which she cried.
She did.
and it was
at least 3 of the 4 times, probably all 4.
probably all 4.
If I had to make a guess.
No, she was absolutely lovely, and she had a great voice, and she was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed her.
I was very impressed with her, and I didn't know exactly what I was going to think. And there's always this process that happens throughout the course of a candlelight weekend, where leading up to it, everybody's speculating and guessing who and saying who they think would be the best narrator and why.
Did you have
and
a guess?
Then not really this year.
Oh.
This year there was nothing. Like, I was guessing something that maybe had an overcross between Haunted Mansion and either Star Wars or Marvel or something, because there were a few people that have done a lot for Disney this year.
I had 2 guesses.
Go ahead.
Rosario Dawson.
That was one of them.
And Chris Pine, mainly because I wanted Captain Kirk to do the candlelight processional.
There you go. But so then I think the day before candlelight, there were a few rumblings that she was at the park. And then the next day, on Saturday for candlelight, there was confirmations that she was in the parks, which usually is a decent indicator that maybe if this person has done something with Disney this year, you've got a chance of them being the narrator.
I just think it's way funnier that a celebrity just goes to Disneyland and is like, what?
I think it'd be great misdirection too. But then you don't actually get the 100% official confirmation. I'm going to say 85% of the time until the mic check at 4:30 or whatever it is. And that's when it was confirmed. There's Brie Larson. She did a great job. And candlelight was fantastic as ever. We did film from a different side this year, which was an interesting experience and way less stressful. And the cast members did a fantastic job, at least on this side. I think they probably did on both sides. And we saw some new soloists, and we saw, like, there are some changes, like small changes, but it was fun.
So I don't know. I might be in the minority on this. I think the last big change was a couple years ago.
They swapped out a song. Yeah. I think it was 2 years ago. And then they swapped it back at Ian or something last year, I think.
I have no idea. Like, I go.
That's why we write articles, to capture
Christmas
a piece
songs.
of time and put it on the internet.
No, but it is such a long show to me, and not in a bad way. It's not like a grueling long show. It is a longer show at Disneyland. So
that's okay.
I will say I do miss
Away in a Manger.
Away in a Manger. I was like, I almost
think that was the one that got added and taken away.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, I mean, and through the years, we've seen some changes, or they changed the script a little bit and things like that, and different people care different levels.
Changed the Bible?
Well, no, they used to do One Solitary Life, and then they changed it to the part that made her cry. Actually,
I was being funny.
Oh, okay, there you go.
I was being so funny.
So funny.
He said I'm funny.
You know, it's also funny.
What?
Indiana. It is now time for this week's IndyCam, which by my count is number 18.
Oh my gosh.
It's a little bit shorter this week, and it has guest star, but enjoy.
Guest star.
I called this one Tug of War.
So what's funny is that 6 weeks ago, Desi did not know how to play tug.
Mm-hmm.
She's been an only child. She's almost 10.
Mm-hmm.
She'll be 10 in a few months. She's been an only child her entire life. She's never had to play tug with other dogs. If you have tried to play tug with Miss Desdemona, of course that's what they're currently doing. If you ever tried to play tug with Miss Desdemona as a human, she would simply put her mouth where your hand was because she didn't want you holding the toy anymore. She was like, no. But this was probably taken 3 or so weeks ago, and Desi has gotten better. But Indy is still a little instigator and still likes to try and bite her while she's trying to play a game. So that is Desdemona, also known as Desi. She's only Desdemona when she's in trouble.
There you go. All right. Well, it was a very big day in Disney news, and mainly because Disneyland decided to unveil all of its big events that will be happening in 2024, which actually is quite nice for people planning.
It is.
Because
I think they should do this every year.
You can now, yes, you can now plan out your year based on what event you would like to attend, or multiple events, whether it's a Lunar New Year festival or there's a bunch of them.
I just had a really insane
Halloween.
realization.
What's that?
The company I work for did something very similar this week. They've never done that before.
I'm sure there's market research out there that says people want to plan ahead.
Yeah, I don't know that it's publicly visible, but it's back end visible, which is something that's never happened before. And I think that is actually a really great move that more companies should adopt. Is, hey, here's what our plan is, so that you can plan your visits or plan how you're going to spend your money or whatever it is. Because sometimes you just want to know what day Target's going to put out those little Christmas birds.
That would be good, actually. I know Jenny Ray would love it.
I know.
So we got the whole 24 lineup. There's a lot going on next year. We are seeing the return of Season of the Force. We're seeing the return of Food and Wine Festival, Lunar New Year celebration, Halloween, holidays, and the return of Pixar Fest, which was not on my bingo card. We're also seeing the return of Peter Pan to Fantasmic. Maybe that's where we'll start. What do you think about Peter Pan returning to Fantasmic when it comes back at the end of May?
So my biggest gripe with Fantasmic 2.0, besides the re-recording of the music, we won't get into that. My biggest gripe with Fantasmic 2.0, and I have said it on the show many times, play back the tapes.
We don't have that technology.
It's fine. Just edit this in later. I have said recently, like within the last 3 months, Pirates is the weakest link of Fantasmic 2.0. Who were we talking about this with? Because maybe it was Taryn said it in the chat, but it was something about you cannot follow the story just off of audio when it's the Pirates. And you have to be able to follow the story by audio because it has to make its way around the rivers of America. The Peter Pan segment told it very well. You knew who was winning. You knew who was losing. Like,
you knew what they're after.
You knew what the goal was. I could not tell you the pirate sequence. All I knew was Jack.
Yeah, it was more of a mood moment than a progression.
Well, it felt like the big flashy moment in World of Color, where it's like the fire and the
kind of, but not as good. I agree. It's not an animated film, so that was one issue I had with it. 2, I think the Peter Pan segment is uplifting, whereas the Jack Sparrow segment was just action.
Yeah.
And it didn't really make you feel better that the good guy won. Like, there's that very happy moment at the end where Peter Pan is laughing and Hook is yelling for Mr. Smee. That's just, you feel great about it. And it's a really good way to lead into the princesses because it's a natural progression of emotions. And I think the best Disney shows take you on really good emotional journeys. And so this isn't like jumping you up and down. It's a very smooth progression of emotions as they're taking you on the emotional journey. And so I'm really happy that it's back. I also think there's not going to be that many people that would miss Pirates of the Caribbean, where I think Disney discovered there's a ton of people that missed Peter Pan. And like one of my earlier Disney memories is going and seeing Fantasmic with my grandparents. And Grandpa on my mom's side was always very into Peter Pan. And then he saw it come to life instead of just on the book. And he was so enthralled with that. And so that was one of those moments where you're like, wow, Disney magic is real and it hits all ages, because here I am at, I don't know if I was 8 or 10, and he's in his 60s and everybody's loving that. And I think the Pirates thing, it's hard to follow. It's you don't actually know what's happening. Like you kind of have to have it explained to you a little bit. And and it doesn't have that oomph at the end where you're like, oh, that's great. You know, the good guy won. And so I'm very happy that Peter Pan's coming back.
Does Jack even get his compass at the end of this?
I don't know.
I don't
know. I could go watch the video again, but I don't actually know that he does.
I couldn't tell you. Also, isn't the female character not Elizabeth Swann? It's like
I think it's Elizabeth Swann, but they didn't actually specifically say it or not say it.
So it's also like
when I was reading today, it was Elizabeth Swann.
But then it's also this thing of I don't exactly know who these characters are besides Jack Sparrow.
Yes.
It's a bunch of nameless pirates.
The other thing is they're kind of moving away from the Jack Sparrow character.
I think that's a good thing.
And it'll be interesting to see if that means his storyline also stays in Pirates of the Caribbean, the attraction as well in the future.
Like it.
Like, I don't think it needs to, because honestly, I think that's an attraction where you could probably go back to the original and keep plussing up the original. And maybe you have one nod to the movies here or there, but I don't think it needs to be reliant on movies to bring it in, because I just think people love it because it's pirates.
Yeah. And I think that there is definitely something to be said for the classic attraction staying the classic attraction.
Yeah. I mean, they keep plussing up Haunted Mansion, and I don't feel like that's ever reliant on whatever movie's out.
Well, it's also what am I trying to say? In the newest Behind the Attraction, which I did binge while Daps was in Japan.
I watched it from Japan because it had Tokyo Disney stuff.
You watched it?
Mm-hmm.
That's so magical.
My sister and I watched it. Saw Tim O'Day in it. Had tip to you, Tim.
Tim is one of those people I could listen to him talk for hours. No, they said in the Pirates episode that they added this animatronic because guests were so expecting it. Like, oh, this is the big.
Yeah, where's Jack?
Now. Where's Jack? And I think
that time has passed.
That 20 years ago, when the first Pirates came out, totally. But I think that it now has more of a cult following than being the pop culture thing of the moment. Personally,
well, and maybe you don't need 3 Jacks. You just have 1.
I was gonna say, if
like,
there was,
leave him at the end scene where he is with the treasure.
I was gonna say keep him in the barrel.
Sure.
I just don't love that the attraction got redubbed to make it, oh, we're looking for Jack Sparrow. That's the only thing. And the animatronic at the end is my least favorite.
I think you could make it better though.
But here's a fun fact that, so sorry to everybody that I'm about to say this, I don't have conscious memory of Pirates before they added Jack Sparrow.
I do, thankfully.
I remember when they added it, I went, it was a youth group trip to Disneyland, because that's what you do when you go to church in Southern California, is you go to Disneyland. This was also 20 years ago, so it wasn't as expensive or hard for reservations. But I remember that they had added the Davy Jones, which was like crazy at the time.
I think that was the 2nd edition too.
That was the newest thing.
Yeah, that was not the first.
No, that was the newest thing when I went, was when they added Davy Jones. It was crazy that you were going through a smoke screen. And then the Jack animatronic I had not seen. But yeah, it was, I wish I had memories of Pirate pre-Jack Sparrow.
But now we will have Peter Pan back, and I think we can all agree that will be a fantastic thing. And we will have a new version of the Maleficent climax at the end, whatever that's going to be when this comes back in May. Another thing that's coming this spring is the return of Season of the Force, which means new Star Wars adventures on Star Tours, which will be great. I think it'll be fun. But the thing I'm most excited about goes back to 2019 when Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, 2019 is when it opened? Yeah, Galaxy's Edge opened, and I was doing an event with then Disneyland Resort president Josh D'Amaro. And it was just months, I think, after Galaxy's Edge opened, if I recall.
It was 2 months after.
2 months after.
It was the kinetic energy event.
And we were standing on the monorail station, and I said, you know, Josh, what would be the coolest thing ever? He's like, what? I'm like, you really should have music playing during the fireworks.
But what music specifically?
Now, I really would like it to be Yub Nub from the end of Return of the Jedi,
Yep,
the
no.
original version, because that would be so perfect. I'm betting that's not what's going to happen. We are getting music with fireworks coming this spring with Season of the Force, and I think it's awesome because hopefully we will get a mix of I don't know, John Williams and other composers from the Star Wars universe
Yes.
now. And I'm also hoping it's not just that they do the Disneyland After Dark Star Wars night fireworks every night and also play the music in Galaxy's Edge. I would love an actual like
independent score.
Well, in my perfect world, they do something like Wondrous Journeys, but then they find music that lines up and like line it up with whatever show's already in the park. So you do that with every version of the fireworks, and you continue it on after Season of the Force, because I just think it's going to be really fun. And it adds a ton of firework viewing because there's a lot of really good places. And if you check my article out on the website, I posted some examples of where you can go and watch fireworks from Galaxy's Edge. And there's at least probably 4 places that are very easy to see the fireworks. And there's also some really creative spaces as well. And I'm really excited to see that come back. And or see that happen? Are you?
I'm thrilled. My issue with Galaxy's Edge fireworks has always been they are too loud. And that the part of the reason that they're too loud is 1, it's the very echoey area, but 2, when there's not music to dampen some of that noise, it's just very loud for me. I actually remember the first night we were ever in Galaxy's Edge. We were very lucky, no phones, all those things. We just got to soak it all in. And I actually remember during fireworks, I ran and I just tried to find somewhere that I could be I could dampen some of the noise because it was so loud.
It is.
So I'm very excited.
Super cool.
It is, especially over the Millennium Falcon. And actually, the first place I ever watched fireworks from was in front of the garage,
which is a great place as well.
Edge. But imagine that with like music.
I think it'd be great.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
All right, the other thing we're going to hit tonight is Pixar Fest is returning to the Disneyland Resort, which means we will once again, I presume, see the Up House flying over Sleeping Beauty Castle and other things. And we're also getting a new parade. I'm looking for a reaction here. Are you not excited about the return of Pixar Fest? I'm excited about the return of Pixar Fest. I'm sorry to hear that.
So Pixar Fest. Let's dissect Pixar Fest. When Pixar Fest happened in the summer of 2018, that was the summer that somebody made a decision to have the All-American College Band's last set of the evening at 10:45. That was a very long summer. They didn't start until like 3 or 4. Their first set was Flag Retreat, actually. And then they would go until 10:45. That was such a long summer. I spent a lot of nights sleeping on the curb, waiting for the train station set, the last train station set for College Band, and listening to Together Forever just behind me. I'll never forget the amount of guests that just stepped over me because they were like, "Are you watching fireworks?"
So that's a College Band thing, though. Pixar Fest, we are going to get Better Together, a Pixar Pal Celebration
I'm excited
parade,
about the parade,
which I assume is going to be a updated version of the Pixar Play Parade with new music and updated floats. And one of them looks very cool with the turning red thing.
Completely new.
I'm sure it is, but I'm sure it's using the chassis of the old parade.
Sure.
Like you always reuse stuff. And the opening float looks very much like the opening float of Pixar Play Parade. It's that Pixar lamp again. So I'm assuming there will be elements that we're like, oh, I remember this when. And I don't know if it'll be how similar they'll be, but I'm assuming, just to temper expectations, expect to have some things be familiar.
Can I say something?
Yes.
I'm very excited about Four Town.
I think that's going to be
very
great.
Excited about that. Can I say the thing that I've talked about that
I don't know
isn't anywhere in this press release that I ask questions?
I don't know.
Okay, I'm going to say it, and if I get yelled at, I get yelled at. There were auditions posted for a certain piano player. They've been posted for a while now. And obviously now it's clear to me that was Pixar Fest related. So I'm just
quite possibly.
I'm just wondering when we're going to see that make an appearance in the park, because I would really like to see that.
we'll see where and how and what if.
And
Like,
what
there's
and
so
if-
many, like, it could be anything. So I'm not going to speculate on
Yeah.
that one. But I am excited about the new parade. I think it'll be fun to see how they update the fireworks, because they did say it's going to be updated. Which you think? What was it 2017? You said
18.
2018. So we've had. When was Coco? Was that 2019? 20?
No, that was 2017.
Okay, so that was out,
Mhm.
but
Soul.
Soul was not out.
Toy Story 4.
Okay. um,
Lightyear.
okay.
Um,
Elemental.
Turning Red.
Turning Red. So those
Elemental.
are two very good musical pieces.
Mhm.
Okay. So there's rooms to grow.
Yeah.
In this, I think that'll be fun to see.
I'm very excited. I love the Up House, and so I hope that personally makes a return.
Can I make one suggestion about something else that should make a return?
Yeah.
This, more than anything, if you're watching Disney, bring back the Pixarmonic Orchestra. Right? That would be the ultimate Pixar fest. I would, like, to me, Pixarmonic Orchestra back and College Band back with their Pixar medley. Perfect. Like,
I
just take my money now.
cannot express to you, Disney, how much I miss Pixarmonic Orchestra.
One of the best entertainment offerings of all time at the Disneyland Resort.
Genuinely, it was
So fun.
And part of what made it, I know this would be hard to replicate now, is that the cast was just having so much fun.
I think they can do it.
They absolutely can. There's obviously big pieces that would be missing. But I frequently will go back and watch the final day of Pixarmonic Orchestra, because the amount of love that was in that show, that is something that only, like, lightning doesn't strike like that very often. And that show was just, especially when it moved to the bandstand on Pixar Pier. Because when we first saw it was back in Paris Gardens. So when it moved to the bandstand, like, that was pure Disney magic to me, when you would sit at lamplight and you could hear
It was good. And you could hear it all across the water too. Like,
yeah,
it was great.
Absolutely fantastic show.
Mhm.
If that show could make a comeback, I would be the happiest person in the world.
I think that would be the best thing they could do for Pixar Fest.
Yeah.
I mean, parade, great. Fireworks, great. Food, great. Merchandise, sure.
But a 6-piece band.
Playing Pixar music, beautiful.
And they all got silly names.
Yes, bring them back. You could even add a song or two to the set list or whatever.
It's all right to be added.
I hadn't thought about it actually, but I like that idea. I was actually thinking it'd be hilarious to hear them try to do one of the Turning Red songs. I'm like, man, that could be pretty funny.
Could be pretty funny.
I don't know. I think it would be.
Anyway.
Welcome to Geeks Corner Plus as we hit the top of the hour. If you have any questions you'd like to ask about Candlelight or any of the topics or something else that we mentioned tonight, feel free to throw them into the chat. Sorry we missed you, Mike. That would have been fun to see you on Saturday. Very cool that you saw Josh tomorrow, though. Greetings, Roger, from a much warmer California than I think where you're at right now. And Katie's doing some sort of dance on the set for Geeksmas.
So for those of you who aren't on the Patreon, or for those of you who are on the Patreon, go back and watch something very, very silly, wackadoodle, tee hee ha ha ho ho that happened during the Patreon live stream is that we had a little California earthquake.
We did.
And it was a very funny showcase of our personalities, because Mr. Daps is just kind of like, I used to hunt tornadoes, like, whatever. He's like, okay, cool. He's like, that's an earthquake. And you can see a moment on my face when I realize that it's happening. And I just literally take off running. I watched it back and I was like, oh my God, I took off.
Watched it. That's
took
fun.
off running. I literally said, zoom, like I was running away. And then I proceeded to shake like a chihuahua for 10 minutes.
Or you can just watch us decorate the Geekmas tree on the Patreon tonight
I was
as well.
just explaining why I was wacky.
Okay, there you go.
But also, yeah, we decorated the Geekmas tree,
which you will be able to see better next week. We promise. We'll make it better.
Which are we?
We will see.
Is next week? Next week?
We will see.
Okay. Who's to say? I also put up those stockings. And I
Very
used
important. Did you put them up with care?
I put them up with as much care as I could. I didn't know if that's where they were supposed to go.
I think so. That's vaguely where I remember them
really
going before.
Far apart.
Yeah. I think there's another one right there that we missed, but that's okay.
But the thing is on it.
Mhm.
So, but then I was like, "Oh, this looks cute. Like that looks like there could be a little fireplace there." Because for those of you who don't know, this is not real brick. I know.
Shocking, I know.
But you know what? You know what?
What?
You know what?
I don't.
I
What?
show people pictures and they go, "You painted that?"
Mhm.
I thought those were brick. Me and Maddie, this time 4 years ago. 4 years ago. Or 5 years ago. I think it was 2018 and 2019.
Yeah, that sounds more right.
Not 2019 and 2020.
No, we had a year for it.
Wow, that's so crazy.
Mhm.
Maddie and I had a really great time painting
It was
for
fun.
3 weeks straight, and
It was good. It was very good.
I'm very proud of it.
That is true.
So.
Oh, the Walt Disney the Dreamer statue in Epcot. We will be seeing it in the next couple of days, and I can't wait. I love how that whole area has come to life, and I love the shapes that you're seeing in the area. Like, as the amateur photographer that I am, I cannot wait to shoot that with some wide lenses, just because I think there's some really fun lines that are going to be happening there. And I think it'll be very fun to be able to sit next to Walt and take a picture. So I am all on board with the new Walt Disney statue at Epcot.
I have many thoughts. One, people that are concerned about the statue. Storyteller statue's been fine for 10 years. We're good. Like, we're totally fine.
You can basically walk right up to the one in Tokyo too.
Yeah, we're fine. Two.
Actually, both of them you can basically walk up to because they have both.
Amazing, beautiful, never the same. Amazing, creative. Love her. She's amazing. Looks so good. I also am like, I'm just very excited there's not like a hole in the middle of Epcot anymore, that the walls came down. Like, you get to just walk through Epcot.
And it's pretty. Like,
and it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. This is okay. I'm really tired, and people are being really mean to this for no reason. It's either people go, "Oh, this land is so hot. There's no trees. There's no benches. This is the worst." And then they see a thing with trees and benches that looks beautiful and a place to hang out, and they go, "This is bad. Where is the theming?" No, stop it. It looks great.
No, I think it's pretty. It looks refreshing, and I think people will love it in 6 months because, as we all know, the change is the hardest part, and then once you're used to it, you don't want it any other way. And
I can't wait to go sit.
And I think it's gonna be wonderful. And I love the little seating, eating areas I see around these sides. It looks like, and but no, I'm really looking forward to the lines and the way the design has come, and it will be very fun to see in person.
It's so pretty,
and I'm looking forward to Luminous too. Like, it's gonna be great. All right, Katie, we're running out of time. What should people do?
Go to dapsmagic.com, check out all the Disney and geek news as it happens, subscribe to our mailing list, and find our Patreon.
And make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've got a ton of videos still to post and more coming very soon from Walt Disney World that you won't want to miss. And you also make sure to check out our candlelight coverage from this weekend. We've got 2 full videos, and I think I'm going to post some individual songs as well. If you have any preferences on those songs, let me know, and I'll try to make them happen. But that's about all the time we have for you this week, so we will see you round the corner.
Bye.